Welcome back to the Fit Mind, Fit Body podcast, special Gone Nuts series. It's time for a monthly update from one of our intrepid Gone Nuts athletes. How has their training gone? What are they thinking about with the event just around the corner? And what are they learning about themselves? All these questions and more will be answered in the next 15 minutes. Today on Fit My Fit Body, I am excited to talk to Garry Wood on the eve, it feels like the eve of our big event at Gone Nuts. Garry, how are you?
Hi, I am pretty good, thank you.
Pretty good. Tell me what's been going on with your training for the last few weeks.
So I've ticked over the longest run as planned, which was 4.5 hours, I think.
Oh, wow. You've run
all
so
went
much
okay.
further than me. I just feel crazy. All of you.
No, I probably
actually.
didn't go further. I just took a long time to get there.
Okay, you run longer.
Yeah. So, no, everything has gone okay. You could always feel like you could have done more.
I know. I feel like I should have done so much more listening to all of you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But honestly, it's where I want to be, and the rest is just take it reasonably careful for the next week or so, and see what happens on the day.
How is your body feeling? So it's good that you've ticked off all of your important training, all the foundations there. How's your body handling it all?
Everything's been pretty good. I actually had a little tweak of the lower back the other day, which isn't great, but I'm booked in for a massage tomorrow, and I'm pretty happy about that. Nothing too bad, nothing that'll stop me. Overall, no, I feel pretty good.
That's awesome. I wish I could say that, but it's weird.
As good as we feel at our age, Michelle.
That's true. I think I was reflecting, and I know when I've done other events, it's funny how you feel really ready for it 2 or 3 weeks before it. And it must be that fine tuning when you've done it a long time or often, you get better at that fine tuning. And instead of feeling really ready for it 3 weeks ago and now just feeling exhausted, you could have, I was like, oh, if they'd actually had the run 3 weeks ago, I would have felt much more confident than I do today, which is weird. Anyway,
I think it gets in your head a little bit too as it gets closer, and it becomes very real that it's approaching us. And look, the natural thing is to feel a few nerves, and that's all part of it.
What do you do with those nerves? How do you deal with it? What do you say to yourself when you're feeling that?
A lot of positive self-talk, I guess, just to remind myself how much work I've done. And I basically started 12 months ago to try and just keep ticking along, and nothing big, but just being consistent and trying to do the right things. As I've said before, look, I'm never going to be perfect, but as long as I've done what I can, we'll just roll the dice and see what happens on the day. Look, I think it should be okay. It'll all work out one way or the other.
Well, that's right. Either way, Saturday will come and go. Saturday, the 2nd of March, will come and go. No matter, and what will be, and we'll just one step at a time. That's how I'm having to philosophize in my head. Working for me at the moment. I talked to Tim yesterday, and Tim and Sharon, I think, are dropping back to the 75. So you might have some company from our little crew here on Fit My Fit Body. So that'll be nice. So Tim and Sharon will be having a chat with you, I reckon, on the start line. They've made that decision.
It sounds like we won't be lonely. I got word from Michael Phillips that the biggest field for the 75 and 100 that they've ever had this year.
Oh, really? I think that's us. That's us. We need to talk to Michael. That's us talking about it here on the podcast.
We
spread the word. But I don't know if it is us. Actually, a funny thing happened the other day. I was helping out at the Penguin running festival at one of the turns. Simon and I were there, and Simon told a guy who just came running by that wasn't in an event that I was going to be doing the event. He came up to me because he was training for the event. Like that day, he was training for the 100. And he came up to me on the turn, and he started talking to me. And then he said, "Oh, and you've got a podcast. Oh, that's really interesting." And then he put the podcast and listened to some of our episodes. Like he put put it on his phone, and then kept running off to do his training while he was listening to that podcast. I've never had
How
that
great.
before. I just went,
There you go.
what? That's so funny. Anyway, he's going to come on the podcast and talk about his experience once he finishes as well. So I'll have a bit more gone nuts the other
Awesome.
end. So how nutty we all are. What are you looking forward to now that it's close? Is there like next week? Is there some? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
look, I'll go for another medium sort of run over the weekend and a bike ride. Short run next week, and then the last couple of days, apart from some walking, just making sure I'm getting plenty of sleep leading up to the event, trying to rest up as much as possible, and lots of stretching, and just getting the body just as good as it will be.
Yeah.
No, look, I just want to get on with it. I'm just really keen now to make a start.
Yeah.
Ask me 12 hours in whether I'm still keen. I might not be, but
Still part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I just had my daughter on the phone before you got on. I don't think she ever listens to the podcast, which is a good thing because I talk about her a bit. And I might get her on actually the other end because she's doing the 50, as I think I told you. And it's her first run since she's a kid, really. So she said to me today, people keep asking me if I'm tapering. What does that mean? Like, you really need to not be doing that much right now. So just what you described, and that's what made me think to bring it up. It's like this knowledge isn't necessarily something that everybody has, is it?
No, it's not, and everyone's different. I mean, some people might like to run nearly right up to the event, and that they probably get better results by doing that. But personally, I just want to go in as fresh as possible, and that's my attitude. And I don't know. I've never tried running right up till the day before. It happens. It just sounds a little bit too taxing.
Tapering is something to look forward to, apart from the fact that there's a big run at the end of it. It's like, it's kind of cool. I used to think, with marathon training, whoa, I love the tapering time because you'd done all that work and you sort of felt a bit, a bit happy with yourself. You'd done all that work. And you just had this big run to do at the end of it, which wasn't as exciting sometimes. You're a bit worried about it. Is there anything, talking about worried, that you kind of is hovering around in your head at the moment?
Definitely a bit of trepidation about the length of time that I will be out there, and I know from past experience that it does get quite difficult as the day wears on. Hopefully the weather is going to be kind. So far, the forecast doesn't look too bad.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Heat-wise, or so fingers crossed that remains. So yeah, look, that natural nervousness or feeling of what am I doing? Yes, definitely there for the distance. But once again, back to the trusting the training and that you've done everything that you need to do is all you can do. And when it gets hard, remember why you're there.
You get harder. That's what some people would say. I know there are some athletes who try and visualize things like the finish line or whatever. You've actually even crossed the finish line plenty of times in this event. So do you do that in your head? Do you think about, that's sort of the ultimate goal?
I try not to. I try and break it down into much smaller chunks because at the start of particularly the 100, if you start thinking about the finish line, it can seem like a very, very long way away.
Yeah,
particularly when you get,
it is a very long way away.
So rather worry about the next checkpoint. Worry about when you're taking your next gel or drink or whatever that may be, and try and enjoy it. For being that moment where you are and take it all in and feel the gratitude for just being there, and don't worry about the finish until maybe it's a little bit closer.
Yeah, I love that. Mind you, my understanding is you can see the finish and then you've still got 3 or 4 Ks to go.
That can be a little tough. Yeah, that really is a bit of a mind game. But once again, if you know it, prepare yourself for it.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. I think it's only 6 or 7 Ks to go, not 100.
Well, that's 6 or 7. I'm thinking it's 3 or 4. You just doubled it on me. Thank you.
It's 3 up the river and 3 back,
Oh
and
my
then
Lord.
another kilometre back into the finish line.
Thanks for telling me that. It's much nicer now to know that than
Yeah.
when you just get there and you think, oh, it's only another 3 or 4K. And then like, oh, actually it's double that. Whoops. You're like, no, I'm not going any further. Um, who was I talking to? Kelly, I think. She was saying how what she's going to be putting in her bags for the different drop-off points. What do you do?
I carry everything with me for the first 50.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, change of socks at the 25
Yeah.
for me, and obviously refill the water bottles, something to eat, and away I go again. When I get to the 50K mark for me, my wife and her friend will be there to take a little bit more care of me food wise, and
Yeah. More socks.
more socks, and leg rubs, hopefully, and whatever
Oh,
else. Yeah,
that sounds good.
yeah, yeah.
Can
Don't
they stay
don't.
there until I get there? Because that sounds like I wouldn't mind that.
You might get there before me, Michelle. You never
Oh,
know.
I don't think so.
Um, yeah, so you're pretty lucky there. So I don't sort of worry about the drop bag so much because
Okay.
yeah,
So, so do you take your change of socks and change them at the 25 in your
yep,
bag?
yep.
So then do you leave the old dirty smelly socks at the 25 change
Of
or
course not. No, I
oh,
take them
I
with
don't know,
me.
I'm just asking. Maybe you do. Maybe yours is the opposite. Yeah, you dropping, but you're dropping rather than picking up, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Maybe you put a bag there for, yeah, put my stuff in here.
The extra weight of a pair of socks isn't going to weigh me down too much, so I'll
True. Yeah.
carry them.
Yeah. Especially if you haven't had to like get them wet or anything, which that shouldn't happen.
No, hopefully not.
Mm. Do you know, I was thinking about putting a change of shoes. Do you get your bag back later? Because
Yes,
I never
yeah,
think about that because in
yeah,
the past
definitely. Yeah,
you
so
sort of just drop food
that
that is consumables, I should say. You don't
yeah.
necessarily have things there that.
No, they definitely do. They after you've been through, they transport all those bags
Okay.
back to the finish line and
Yeah.
should be there when you get there. But
Oh, well,
yeah, here a lot of people change their
yeah.
shoes. I haven't done
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
yeah, each to their own.
I've had a blister. I'm not sure if you saw it on Facebook.
I,
It's great.
I
It's
did.
grossed everybody out.
Uh,
And I went for a run with a really old pair of shoes, which I put a cut down the side of it where the blister is, and it worked a treat. And I thought maybe I should put a pair of shoes like that in there, at least for somewhere along there. I have to think about where to put them because if it really hurts, but I've got this pair of shoes that I can run in because it doesn't hurt unless something's rubbing against it. So it kind of, yeah. Anyway, I was just thinking it.
could be a good thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Or I just attach it to my backpack and they can hang out of the back my backpack like I'm bushwalking with my extra pair of shoes on the back. With the ones with the cut in it, that is, because they're not that precious. But it's at least something between me and the ground. Anyway, the things we do, crazy to survive. I might have asked you this before, but I'm not sure. What's one of your favorite things to eat and drink on the trail? Because you are an expert at this, having done it before.
Far from an expert. I just learnt by previous
Compared to
mistakes
me.
most of the time. No, yeah, gels, bars, electrolytes, of course.
Yeah.
When I get to the checkpoints, bananas, maybe a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Have tried cold pizza. That was pretty good, actually.
Is it good?
That wasn't a bad one. Yeah, but it's you just don't know what you're going to feel like on the day. That's the worst thing. I found the further I got in, the less I felt like eating actual food, and the energy chews and things. And I think I mentioned jelly beans. They were a real go-to for me in the last 25. So
any flavor? Jelly bean? Do you have a jelly
I
bean
love the
flavor?
black ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too. Licorice. Yay.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love those too. I always search for them when you picking up jelly beans. Where are the black ones? That's interesting. I always like Coke in the like flat Coke near
Yeah,
the end of a
yeah,
big long run
definitely.
like that.
And they do have that at the checkpoints. And yeah, I definitely agree that
Yeah.
that's a really good little pick me up with a bit of sugar and a bit of caffeine, which, yeah.
It's funny because I don't never ever have it any other time. And I wonder if I did drink it like normally, that maybe it wouldn't have the same effect. I wouldn't have the same,
Probably
like the
not,
taste and
yeah.
everything. I'm like, oh, I get to have Coke and I don't have it usually. So it's an unusual taste for me. Just
And
kind
it
of
tastes great.
It
That's the best
does.
time
It's true. It's true. It tastes amazing. It's crazy. I don't know what they put in it. Even though my mum said when I was a kid that is why I don't drink it, is when you put a penny or a coin in it and pull it out and it's all kind of stripped of whatever was on it because of that's what it does to your inside. She used to tell me. That's why I don't drink Coke as a habit. I don't know if that's true, but that's what she told me. We're very impressionable as children. At least I am. Or was. Still am, actually. All right. I'm just thinking what I need to put in my bag now, make sure that I cover off on all those things. Because there's that, it was interesting that you said when you get towards the end or, the last quarter, you're just exhausted and eating is the last thing you really think about. Are you
and yet
really
one of the
good at
that you should do.
yeah, but you need to, don't you? That was
That's
sort of
right.
that kind of thing. So you must be quite good at making sure you do have a sip of your electrolyte and have a little bit of your gel or something because you
Try to be. Yeah.
run out of
Try
energy.
to be. Yeah, yeah. It's one of the hardest parts, I think, is
Mm,
to stay on top of that the energy requirement to
mm,
keep it going in. And with the electrolytes not running out. But
yeah.
yeah, that's all part of the learning curve, I
Mm.
suppose. You work out what you need and what you don't. Hopefully, enough between checkpoints to keep going.
It's a little bit like that, well, I don't even know if it's particularly true, but I think it is. If we get thirsty, if we're already feeling thirsty, it means it's a bit too late. Like you should have
Yeah,
already had
yeah.
hydrated before that. This is not just for running, but just in general. I think it's probably a bit the same, if you get to the stage where you're feeling pretty hungry or no, lack of energy, because I don't think you do feel hungry when you're in these
I,
events like that,
I
but you
agree.
get that lack of energy and you kind of don't want to go anymore and your emotions go weirdly and everything's just like everybody's got menopause irrelevant of your age or your gender because you just have
It
no reason.
it's definitely when you've got to stop and take stock, I think, and think, well,
Yeah.
what is really wrong with me? And yeah,
Mm,
one of the questions is, do I need something to eat?
mm,
And it can make a big difference having a stop and
yeah.
a bit of energy on board and good to go.
Off you go. Excellent. Well, I am excited now. Thank you. Thank you. Talking to you, I feel a little bit less nervous. Feel a bit more excited. I'm looking forward to hearing how you go and to see you out there. Probably see you maybe
I
on
hope so.
Friday and then I'll definitely see you at some point, maybe on Saturday. I don't know if I'll catch up to you. Maybe I'll see you on Sunday. Look at my brain. I'm just maybe when
I
maybe you
reckon
catch a bus at a different time. I'm just
I reckon you'll catch me, and I hope you do.
I don't know about that. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to go out and have fun and enjoy it. I'm prepared to do a lot of walking. That's
Nothing wrong with that.
looking forward to
That's the
it.
great thing about trail running, as you know, walking is expected. So
Yeah. In fact, yes, everybody does it, including the elite runners. They all walk, which I
exactly,
think is
yeah,
awesome.
definitely,
I love it.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your journey to this point, Garry. As I said, I am looking forward to checking in with you. I think you're one of the first people who's booked in to talk to me just a couple of weeks. So we'll be quite raw for both of us at that point, whether you're trying to tell me I did okay, even though I pulled out, but I'm not going to pull out. I'm not going to do that.
No, no, you'll be
Things
right.
like that.
You'll be right.
We can sit here though and lick our wounds and celebrate the fact that we got out there and did it in 2 weeks, or sorry, week and 1 day from now. But who's counting? Anyway. All right. Well, you get a lot of rest, have a lot of sleep, and don't trip over anything at all. Just look after yourself. Like think bubble wrap.
You too.
You'll be fine. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you again. Really appreciate it.
See you later.
And just like that, we're another step closer to the start line. Big thanks to our runners for sharing their progress and to you for cheering them on. Remember, it's the journey, not just the destination, that shapes us. Keep supporting our crew as they push towards that start line. And if you're enjoying this series, we would love to hear from you. Why not leave us a review and share the podcast with friends? Let's all go a little nuts together.